Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about the series that I marathon read in 2024. Now this might seem like it is a little bit late, but I have a good reason for that, and that is that it just took me a little bit longer than I anticipated to finish all of the series that I wanted to marathon last year. I did only manage to finish the Mistborn Era 1 trilogy in February, so that's why this video is a little bit late. Today we're going to rank 6 series, and we will start with my least favorite, moving our way up to my favorite series that I marathon read last year. I do also have a new list for 2025, so I'm already working on some more series and I'm very excited. Marathon reading series is my favorite thing in the world, so I try to prioritize that. And yeah, I think without much further ado, we can get into the series. Maybe one last thing I wanted to mention is that I did a reading vlog for every single one of these series, so I will link all of them down below so you can go and check it out. These videos usually end up being quite long because I try to really give you an in-depth view of these books, like how I like them and how they're working for me. So if you want to do a deep dive into any of these series and what I thought about them, definitely check those videos out. I would also really love to hear if you've read any of these, if you've liked them, and also if you now want to read any of these. Most of these are quite popular fantasy series, so I don't think you will be much surprised, but yeah, let's just get into it. And we're starting out with the 6th spot on my list of series that I marathon read in last year / the beginning of this year, and that unfortunately would be the Mistborn Era 1 trilogy. In this trilogy, we are following mainly 2 main characters in the first book. We have Kelsier and we have Wynne. Both of these are part of a thieving crew that is now trying to topple the Emperor. And in this world, we do have an empire that has lasted for 1,000 years. And it is built on the oppression of people called the Ska. And so they're trying to start a revolution, and then also have some magical abilities that will help them on their journey as well. Unfortunately, this one just didn't work for me. I really thought I would love it because people rave about it so much, but in the end I found it to be quite shallow and boring, and I didn't really love the magic and how it was explored. I didn't really love the characters. They never felt real to me. They always felt like characters in a book, so I didn't really care about what was happening to them. And then plot-wise, especially with the second and the third book, I also felt like the plot wasn't really there. And so yeah, unfortunately this was my least favorite series I marathon read last year. Now, moving along from this one, all of the other series I would definitely recommend reading, even though they might not be like my number 1 spot, but all of these other ones I had a very good time with. And on the 5th spot, we have the Southern Reach trilogy. It is somewhere there above me. This is like a series written by Jeff Vandermeer. He decided to put out a 4th book last year to kind of ruin that I just completed this trilogy, but whatever. So far I haven't read that 4th book. But for the original trilogy, we follow a place on Earth called the Area X, and in this area something strange is going on. In the first book, we follow a group of female scientists that enter Area X and are trying to figure out what's going on there. The main character that we're following is a biologist, and we don't really learn a lot about the other characters because they're trying to not really know a lot about each other to protect themselves from the things that are going on in Area X. And through these 3 novels, we explore this region bit by bit. Like, it's very slow going. You don't get like a ton of answers, but this is like a very interesting kind of like sci-fi horror series. I especially loved the 3rd book. It was really, really good. It had like some tropes that just worked so well for me. So yeah, I would recommend if it sounds interesting to you. Then on my 4th spot, we have the Winnowing Flame trilogy, and this one was a kind of surprise read that I had. I didn't plan on reading this series last year, but then I entered a read-along of the channel Bemused Bookworm, and we read the 3 books together, so I just threw it in here as well. And the Winnowing Flame trilogy is very interesting because we are following a world that has kind of like 2 kinds of people, and one of these are these like mixtures of like elves and vampires in a way, and they're called the Abhorrents, and in the past they have been a fighting force to get rid of an alien race that comes to this world to attack in like very long intervals. And so because the Abhorrents have like very, very, very long lives, they could like remember how to defeat them, and they have their tree god who also sprouted them like magical animals that helped them with their fight. So in the past they were always able to repel this enemy, but now the Abhorrents have been dying out for hundreds of years, and the question is like, if these enemies come back, who is going to defeat them and who is going to save the world, because like the humans are not really able to do that. So we are following 3 main characters. One of them is one of the Abhorrents. Then we have a human woman who's basically a scientist, and she is like traveling the world looking at the artifacts that remain from the last time they were attacked. And then we have a woman who is a fell witch, and these are human women who have a magical firepower, and they are oppressed in this world. I absolutely loved this series. Like, it had so many of my favorite things, so definitely go and check it out. Then on my 3rd place, I have the Lifeship Traders series by Robin Hobb. This is the 2nd series in the realm of the Elderlings. So in the first one we followed Fitz on his journey, and now in the 2nd trilogy we have multiple characters that we're following. And this is set in a different part of the world where we have more of a like trader community. We have this town, and they have these special ships that when 3 generations of captains have died on their decks, these ships will come to life, and that's why they're called life ships. And we have a particular family, the Westwood family, that we are following mostly. And at the beginning of the book, the patriarch of the family passes away, and so the ship comes to life. But the daughter Althea, who always thought that she would inherit the ship, she doesn't get it. It goes to her older sister and her terrible husband. And so the whole family kind of collapses and trouble ensues. And we do have some other perspectives as well, some pirates in the mix. And yeah, this is kind of like a seafaring adventure series, I would say. I still prefer the Fitz series, to be honest, but I still had a good time with Lifeship Traders. Unfortunately, the ending ruined it a little bit for me because there were some things that were not dealt with in a very good way, but these books were written in the 90s, so I kind of expect these things. But yeah, not my new favorite, but definitely a fun series to read. Okay, these next 2 series I really implore you to read because they're just the best. You need to read these. These series had books that ended up in my like top 10 books, or like my favorite books of last year, and yeah, they're just phenomenal. So on 2nd place I have the longer one of the 2 series, and that is the Chorus of Dragons series. This is a 5-book series, and the books are quite big, so it is a little bit of a commitment, but I would say it is worth every second of it. In this series we are following at first mainly one main character called Corinne. In the first book we kind of meet him when he is imprisoned, and his kind of like prison keeper person, Talon, is forcing him to start telling his life's story. But while Corinne is kind of like telling his version, Talon is like, well, I do remember some things differently, and so she starts telling a different part of his life. So basically we have 2 timelines of Corinne's life that we're following in the first book, and then with the like following books we get introduced to more and more characters, and the world expands so much. This is such an amazing world. I absolutely loved the deep dive into this. This is more like a tropical world, so it definitely doesn't feel like your average like medieval European inspired fantasy, so I love that. We do have different species or like different kinds of like humanoid creatures. I don't know, like it's like very interesting the way that there were like different kinds of people and how that has evolved over time because of the magic. So there's like there is a lot going on. It's like very complicated, but starting with the first book, the author just gets better and better of conveying the information. So in the first book, I must say I was confused quite a lot. And also still in the second book, there were moments when I was like, I don't think I really understood what's going on right now. But the more you get into it, the clearer things get. And it's just very interesting, and it's like a series where when you can just go along for a while and just accept that you won't understand everything the first time it is explained to you, then this is so much fun. This series is very complicated in the sense that a lot of the characters have had like previous lives and have been reborn, and some of them do remember their past lives, and there's also like other ways you could switch bodies in this series. And so yeah, there's so much going on, but I promise you it's so worth it. The story is so great. The romance in this one is so great. We do have 3 characters who kind of form this like love triangle, but like it's really like a love triangle. They all love each other in different ways, and it's amazing. Just read the book. And then my number 1 series that I read last year is a very short one. So if you haven't yet, you can all go out right now today and read the series, and I will be mad if you don't do it. And that is the Radiant Empire duology. So we have She Who Became the Sun and He Who Drowned the World, and this duology just made me so everything. It made me feel everything. These characters were everything, and it is a fantastic duology. If, like me, you like complex, cunning, messy characters, if you like following good people, do not read this. But if you like the mess, then you have to read the series. These characters are so flawed, but so smart. And they're all like on their trajectory, and you can see how so many of these trajectories will lead to ruin, but you still you have hope, but you also know it won't work out for them. But you know, it's so good. Now, what is this series about? This is a historical fantasy where we are following a part of history of China, and this is a retelling, but some of the events are very close to the actual history. And we start following a young girl, and when she is still like very young and living in extreme poverty with her family, she gets told that her destiny is to be nothing, while her brother's destiny is to achieve greatness. However, something very terrible happens and the brother passes away. And so our main character is stepping into his footsteps, kind of taking on his persona, and is starting to live out his kind of destiny. And this is just so great. Like over time we get more POVs, and especially like one POV of a unique character that was just so interesting, like had my whole heart. And as I said, you are watching characters that, while they're so smart and so good at what they're doing, they are also very self-destructive in instances. And there's also a romance, and the way the first book ends in regards to that romance, there is this scene that lives rent-free in my head. It's just so great. It's so great. You need to read this. I beg you. And with that, we have come to the end of this video. So I hope you enjoyed watching this discussion of my favorite series that I marathon read last year, and then one series that unfortunately didn't really work for me. If you're interested to see what series I'm tackling next, I will link my reading goals video down below, so you can go and check that out there. But be sure to subscribe, because the first vlogs for these series will start happening very soon. I'm almost done with the first series already. And I'm not going to say which one it is, but it is going so super well. So I am hyped, and I hope that in 2025 I will love all of the series I have chosen. I do not want a dud again. So wish me luck. Let me know which series have you marathon read last year, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye!